Good afternoon, everyone. We're up on top of the Radius building. We're actually standing on the roof of the 7th floor in front of one very large mechanical penthouse, as it's known around here, with Don Poirier, our construction manager. And he's going to take us on a little tour and give us a peek of what's actually going on in there.
That's great, Chelsea. We've done so many of these videos on other past projects here where we talk about the mechanical room. It still fascinates me. It's still my favorite room in the entire building here. It's basically the heart of the entire building. All of our domestic water, both hot and cold, eventually come through this room. All of our heating supply, so everything that keeps your unit nice and warm, all comes through here. To my right is a big chiller unit. That unit there supplies all chilled water, cold water for our air conditioning system. Everything that we want to maintain your unit basically is running through this room behind me here. So we're going to go in and we're going to talk about some of the equipment within there.
Sounds good.
So it's a little dark in here today, and that's just because we're finishing off some of the electrical work in here. But for the most part here, this room is primarily mechanical services. All of our boilers, our hot water tanks, there's makeup air units in here, exchangers, pressurization tanks, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to start from this side, we're going to work our way around. So these four very large tanks right here is our domestic hot water. Domestic hot water feeds all your potable water supply within your home. Your bathtub, your shower, your sinks, your kitchen sink, your dishwasher. All that hot water comes from these four tanks right here. So behind me, these two workhorses here, these are condensing boilers. These boilers here provide all of the hot water to keep your home warm. They're two different systems because they run two different water supplies. Previously, I mentioned it was called potable water. That's all drinking water. All this equipment behind me, the boilers, that runs conditioned water. Conditioned water normally has rust inhibitors in it. It has some glycol so it doesn't freeze in case of emergencies, stuff like that. The water is not drinkable, so please don't ever drink this water. But these two units here punch out enough heat to heat this entire building. About 188,000 square feet of this building will be heated by these two units right here. So if we come further along here, this is our distribution system here. It's basically made up of a bunch of pumps. These pumps run on supply and on return. So what we're doing is we're pushing that conditioned water through these pumps, which then pushes it all through the building here. These pumps run on control modules, which are called VFD drives. VFD stands for variable frequency drives. These things will ramp up. So what we're doing here is instead of just flipping a switch on and saying everybody has heat and turning it off and saying nobody has heat, we turn them on at a certain rate. And what that does is it helps balance out the demand versus the supply. So that's what these two banks of pumps here are for. So we come further down here, we have one more bank of pumps. And this bank of pumps here is for our condition side. So same as that, we got to push all the fluid through the building here. These ones here pull the conditioned water, the chilled water from that air conditioning unit that we just saw outside, and we push that through the building. So within each one of your homes, we have a 4-pipe fan coil, basically 2 radiators within that unit. Those radiators, one is intended for heating and one is intended for cooling. And they're fed from all of these pumps here. So coming further down, if I don't trip, on my left, this massive unit right here is called a makeup air unit, or we refer to it as an MUA. This specific unit here is pressurizing and conditioning the air in all of our common spaces. So that's all the hallways, all the gyms, the front entrance, everything from main level up. It all comes from this unit here. Now this unit conditions air both with warmth and it also cools the air. So your hallways also have a form of air conditioning as well. Coming further down here, where we have all the guys working.
Never ending.
Sorry. To my left here, these are called heat exchangers. So what they do is because the chiller outside doesn't run the fluid from the chiller all through the building because That fluid outside is basically 100% glycol. We don't need to run all that within the building. So what we do is we run that super cold fluid into the building and we run it through these exchangers here. These exchangers have plates in it. It's like a huge radiator. So one side of the plate is all provided from the conditioned water from the chiller outside. The other side of the plate is conditioned water that stays within the building. So this water that's in this building never leaves this building. And so what it does through that plate, it cools down the water that's inside the building, which then gets pumped through, and that's how you get air conditioning. The last thing on the tour here is actually on the left side again. These are called expansion tanks. Because temperatures change, the density, it changes the volume that fluid takes, we need to have expansion tanks. Because of the amount of fluid that we have in this building, we can rapidly go from a low pressure, say 30 PSI, we can ramp that thing up to over 100 PSI very, very quickly by just changing the temperature of the fluid. So what we have to do is we have to find a place to put all of that fluid so that fluid doesn't over pressurize the system and start blowing up some of the fan coils and the pipes within the building. That's what goes here.
Awesome.
So that's pretty much the mechanical room.
Crazy. Thanks so much, John.
No
Thanks,
problem.
guys.